Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show with our host, Bill Sheldon. Join us each week as we explore the courses, the people, and the events that shape our great game.
Golf has always had a prominent place in the history of Detroit and indeed the state of Michigan, and vice versa. In this edition of the Michigan Golfer, we're going to focus on the Detroit golf and the players who made their mark on the national scene. To lead us through this journey, our guest today is Jack Beery, the Dean of the Michigan Golf Writers, past president of the Golf Writers Association of America, 45 years covering golf, and lifelong resident of Detroit. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you, Bill.
What is it about Detroit that throughout history, it seems that there have been so many notable golfers come out of this area?
I think it's the water from the Detroit River. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there certainly have been a lot of them. Although we had Walter Hagen probably was the first one, and the Hague set up his home out there at Oakland Hills. He was their first professional. Of course, he was one of the great players of all time, won five PGA championships, won just about everything else. Then along came Horton Smith, kind of from down in your country down there. He was from Missouri, though, from Springfield, Missouri. And I may be wrong on that. Now, don't send me letters if I'm wrong on that. But Horton won the first Masters tournament, and then he won the third. And he was just a marvelous putter. He had great big hands, and they just kind of just folded the putter grip just so smoothly, and was a wonderful putter. And Horton was the professional at Detroit Golf Club for a long time. Chick Harbert was at Meadowbrook for a long time and had been out in Battle Creek. He still holds the Michigan Open scoring records, one of the longest hitters of all time. He could drive the first hole at Meadowbrook. Walter Berkemo is his native son from over on the east side. And Walter won the 1953 PGA Championship at Birmingham Country Club, which was the year that Ben Hogan won the first three, but did not come home to play in the PGA Championship. He had won the only British Open he ever played in. He'd won at Carnoustie, and didn't want to come back because the PGA at that time was a match play championship. Hogan still had the bad legs from the bus car accident that nearly killed him. And he just couldn't take doing 36 holes a day, and that was required in the match play in those days. So Walter won the PGA Championship that year. But they were wonderful players. And Al Watrous at Oakland Hills, a longtime professional at Oakland Hills, lost the British Open one year to Bobby Jones just in the last couple of holes. And Al was a wonderful person. And he'd say, I went out to lunch with him a few times at Albans there in Birmingham, and he'd say, he says, when you get to my age, nothing tastes as good as a bologna sandwich. And Al probably hit more golf balls than the Iron Byron. I mean, he was forever looking for the perfect swing. Wonderful man. And so we've had a wonderful tradition of great professionals here.
We think about today, the touring professionals, that's what they do. And yet every one of these that you mentioned, they had jobs. They had country club courses and all to attend to. And so that even makes it, I think, more interesting that they were able to
Didn't have $5 million purses in those days. Yeah. And when they won a tournament, it might be $1,000 at best. And so they had to have jobs. They had to have club jobs. And they did a lot of driving instead of flying the way they do today. It's the way Arnold Palmer started. Arnold Palmer and his wife had a little trailer that they pulled around the country. And there was a lot more camaraderie, I think, among the players in those days. They were closer knit than they are today.
We're going to take a break and then come back and talk about a couple of other golf legends from the Detroit area and talk a little bit about the golf courses. We'll take a break and be right back.
Legends beckon me to follow in their steps through historic stands of towering pines, among shimmering banks of heather. Visit www.michigan.org for information about Michigan golf packages and courses. Legends beckon me to play forever, and I follow them to Michigan.
Jack, who was Chuck Kosas?
Well, Chuck Kosas is a pretty decent player. Only about the best, maybe the best player ever to come from Michigan. He's a longtime member at Red Run. And Chuck plays a real boring game. He hits it down the middle, he hits it on the green, and he makes the putts. He's the most consistent player I think that I've ever seen. I would kind of compare him to, although Chuck never hit it that far, kind of a Jack Nicklaus type player, because Nicklaus was the greatest course manager of all, and he rarely got in trouble. He hit the ball straight and got it on the green and made his putts. And that's what Chuck has done all the years, and he still does it today. He plays only on days that end in Y. And he won the Michigan Amateur Championship a record 6 times. He won the Michigan Medal Play Championship every time that he entered it, and he started to feel sorry, I think, for the other competitors, so he didn't play in it anymore. And he was just he played in the Masters. He's been just an unbelievably talented player from our area. There's been nobody to match Chuck Kosas.
And he maintained his amateur status?
Yes, he did. Well, briefly he turned professional during, I think, during World War II years. And then there was no money in it. And he went back to become a manufacturer's representative, and he's done that all of his life. His probably his greatest victory was when he beat Tommy Armour in the Michigan Open in a playoff over in Grand Rapids. At the time, Chuck was going to the University of Michigan, and Tommy Armour was the reigning British Open champion. I mean, this guy was, the Silver Scott was one of the all-time greats, and Chuck beat him. So that was a great feather in his cap.
We only got about a minute left, but obviously in addition to some great players, Detroit has some very interesting courses. We hear a lot about Oakland Hills, and that's a great track, but there's some other older courses that are designed by some well-known architects.
Right. Well, Donald Ross, it almost seemed that he slept here, or else he left a lot of plans laying around, because there was a lot of Donald Ross courses around here. Grosse Ile and Detroit Golf Club, the Redford Golf Course, municipal golf course there, called Rogel now. Country Club of Detroit was where Arnold Palmer won the National Amateur Championship. Was designed by I'm having a senior moment here. I forget whether it was McDonald or who it was, but anyway, one of the great old, or Holt, might have been Holt. And all around the city, out at Barton Hills, a wonderful golf course, another Ross golf course. Alistair McKenzie did the University of Michigan golf course. And of course, we all know that Alistair McKenzie is sainted and went straight to the great putting green in the sky. And so we've got them all around this area. We're very, very fortunate.
Detroit, a great place for golfers, a great place for golf courses, state of Michigan. More golf courses, I believe, than any state in America.
You are absolutely correct. More public golf courses, more than 800 public golf courses. Nobody else can match it.
And I hope you get the chance to play all of them. I'd sure like to. Thanks, Jack, for being with us today.
Thank you, Bill.
And thank you for watching The Michigan Golfer.